G'day guys, welcome back to SuperCoach or DR. Welcome to the Round 14 review. Hope you had a cracking week yourself. Look, for me, it was a really solid weekend. Managed to tie up a few loose ends with some schoolwork. I'm in holidays in 1 week, so I have hit a bit of a wall. I'm crawling towards the end, but we will get there. Definitely light at the end of the tunnel. The weekend actually started off pretty well. The Lions got back on the winners board. Wasn't the most convincing win that you've ever seen. Didn't really have our kicking boots on, but good to bank the 4 points, maintain that top 4 position. My little fella Maxi, his footy team also got their first win of the year, so congratulations, boys. Very proud of you. And in regards to SuperCoach, well, 3 bye rounds are behind us, and we now have 1 to come. For many people, such as myself, it is certainly the toughest bye round that we will face. I'm going to struggle to get 18 on the field this week. I certainly won't be able to unless I make a couple of trades, but I will go through my plans after I show you what the team's actually looking like. I may have the opportunity to actually complete my team this week. I've got a few different scenarios that I'll take you through, and I'd really appreciate you letting me know which one you would actually go through with. But score for the week for me, 2007. That was only a top 10% round score, but it was good enough to send me inside the top 10k again. I was really disappointed last week when I slipped outside there, but I reckon I'm about 250 to 300 points outside the top 5k at the moment. So that's probably going to be my end goal for the season. Anything more than that, I think will be a real bonus. It's a little bit embarrassing as a content creator and based on my past results, but I suppose when you start off with a team that's ranked 90k after round 1, to get to the 5k mark, I think would be a pretty good achievement anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much for the intro, guys. As I mentioned, hope that you're well. Let's see how the team is actually looking. Alrighty, so as you can see, I still have 31,200 remaining in the bank. Good to see I didn't get robbed this week. 10 trades as well as the 2 boosts. So obviously that means that I didn't trade last week. And the reason for that was because I just wasn't too sure. Originally, I was really keen on Mullen as that defensive rookie downgrade. I wasn't too keen on paying up for the Pelicans, so it meant that Weddle just stayed in the side and I didn't manage to bank some coin. I really wanted to do that to make some future moves for this week, so my plans have changed a little bit there. But at the end of the day, I think it was probably a sensible move, because when I have made panic moves this year, generally they haven't worked out too well. So I'll let you know what my plans are after I go through the side itself. So the man up the top here, Tommy Stewart. And the other thing, sorry, I need to mention, I had 18 playing this week. Would have been 19 with Ford, but had 7 playing forwards and couldn't use any DPP. So it is what it is. But as you saw, top 10% for the round, that's okay. So Tommy Stewart, 91. He was one of the blokes that I highly recommended to bring in for James Sicily. So a pretty disappointing score for those that did that. But remember, you are getting Stewart for the remainder of the season, and he is going to pump out some really nice scores for you. So I wouldn't worry too much about Big Tommy. Dacos, Dawson both didn't play. This is what I was wrapped with this week. The Seagull. Didn't see him on a wing. So in his customary role down back, he managed to get a 100+ score. Exactly what I wanted to see, because I was really nervous going into this week. I wasn't sure what Horse was going to do, but he came to his senses and played this man in his best position. So thank you, Horse. Well done, Seagull. You had me really worried with this pick. Hopefully there's no more crazy moves going forward with his role. The Shees wrap that I kept on to him. Obviously got the bye this week, but 100+ score. He looks good down back. Jay-Z had a really nice first half, but I think it was only 4 touches in the second half. So that made me feel a little bit better after being a little bit shattered trading out Jay-Z last week. It looks like I have made the right decision. Aaron Hall was out of the side, obviously omitted this week. But I'll tell you what, he smashed it in the reserves. I think he got close to 40 touches. So it'll be interesting to see if he comes back into the side. But hopefully that will affect Jay-Z a little bit more than it will the Shees. So wrapped that we are seeing some decent scores from him again. And I think his break-even should be lowish as well, which is nice. Day and Whittle obviously didn't play. Into the midfield, so Bont, wow, 169. Talk about the complete game. We saw this earlier. I think I was in Canberra when he had his massive game. But 3 goals, I think it was 35 plus touches, heap contested as well. What a man he is. And he was actually my backup captaincy option as well. My VC Dunkley, you got to take a 137. There was a bloke on Twitter that put a poll out or asked a question, tag me in it. Should I take the 137 or roll the dice on Bont? And I think most people said definitely take that 137 as I did. So super unlucky there, mate. I suppose go with your gut next time. But I think you're pretty crazy if you don't take a 137. 169 though. Congrats if you did have the captaincy on the Bont. Absolutely wrapped with him. The Tarantula, 128. Again, 38 touches. Contested all the way. Kicked a really crucial goal to really seal the game at the end. I think his disposal efficiency, again, was only in the 50s, but that doesn't matter. He was BOG, in my opinion, an absolute beast. And remember, the conditions were absolutely terrible. So I don't think there were too many players, without looking at the stats, that did have wonderful efficiency there. So Tarantula, well done. And again, Kane Corns, you absolute idiot. Letty didn't play. This man, Lachie Neale, back in form. Remember last week I said, and I just said the same thing with Stewart, because he scored low this week, that we're not getting Lachie Neale just for that week. Disappointing type score last week, but we are getting him for the whole season. And a 144, one of his best scores of the year. I think it's his second highest, so rejoicing as an owner. He was just right in the thick of the action, and hopefully we can see more scores like this going into the future. So I think I picked him up at the ideal time, hoping for a really nice average to end the year. So well done, Lachie. Thumbs up, son. Green as well, contested beast. He had a magnificent game. Now, he was a little bit handball happy, but efficiency was up a little bit. And again, those contested possessions. We know he's an absolute beast. So I've been asking for a ceiling game. I wouldn't quite call this a ceiling game, but it's getting very much close to it anyway, isn't it? I want a 150 just to get that season average up, but a 127 after 90s, 80s, yeah, it's just been disappointing, hasn't it? I'll take that score every day of the week. So well done, Tommy. Good to see you on the winners list again. Jack Steele. Jack Steele. What a failed pick. If only I had have gone Andy Brayshaw. If only I had of. But I chose Jack Steele, and this bloke is just not playing well. I'm not going to bag him as a player, right? Because he's an absolute champion, but he's just not right at the moment. There's been news now about he sore Achilles. Ross Lyon said his knee's fine. I don't believe that for a second. The man is just so banged up. I thought that the bye may refresh him a little bit, but it just hasn't. He is a failed pick, and it's an absolute disaster at the moment. I think his break-even is in the mid-hundreds. Again, he's just going to lose money. He is a failed pick and a massive concern for me. He's not a premium. I just don't know what I'm going to do with him. I'm probably just going to hold him for the season and even look to loop him. We'll see what happens in the next few weeks. I don't know if we'll be able to get back to anything near 100 plus average. If you can scrape to an 85, we may even have to take that. But super disappointing, and most disappointing of all, in those conditions, in those wet conditions, only laid the 4 tackles. So, Jack, I don't know what's up with you, mate. Maybe it's best just to take a couple of weeks off, get that body right, and then come back and deliver us some decent scores, because it's actually sad watching this man at the moment, just a shell of his former self, particularly over the last couple of years. So, yeah, what do you say? What do you say? Will Ashcroft, 87, so pretty successful score. We know he always scores well at the Gabba, so I wanted a little bit more, but his break-even is back down, I think, to the low 70s now, so he should make some more coin. Got a few games at the Gabba coming up as well, and he does have that West Coast game. I think it might be in round 17, so if you want to hold him till then, go for it. I may even look to keep him for the year. That's in one of my plans that I'll go through shortly anyway, but pretty impressive game from Will without setting the world on fire. Johnson ended up getting subs, so with 18 on field this week, remember, Ford was at 19th but couldn't get his score. I had to take it, so I wanted a 50 plus at least. He isn't now going to make as much cash as what we were hoping for after that 90 last week. So just looked like a different player. Didn't have that same role. Didn't really have that responsibility, so he couldn't really step up like he could last week. 32. Very, very disappointing. And now I'm even worried, does he play next week? Does he get his spot next week? May even be the sub. And if that's the case, then that cash gen, that, 310k mark we were hoping for at the end of next week, it's just not going to be realistic. So disappointing, but it is what it is. He gave me 32 points that I needed. Merritt didn't play. Rouston, yeah, absolute dud. And Constable, a hope and a prayer one day, probably not though. Into the ruck, so Big Maxi, he was my captain this week, so thank you for your service there, son. Madden didn't play. And Kizza, 129. This bloke is my clear R1 and one of the better rucks, if not the best ruck in the competition at the moment. His form over the last 5 weeks has been jaw-dropping, to be quite honest. I know that Brisbane had a fair crack at him. I think it was a year or two ago. And I can see why. We can all see why, because this guy has just taken the competition by storm and he's doing everything. He's a tackling beast, contested, tap outs, loves to grab it out of the ruck, get the kick onto his boot, clearances, contested marks, intercept marks. He does everything. And I tell you what a blessing in disguise it was for the big Shrek to go down. It enabled me to get this bloke into my side, but the only downfall to having Big Kizza is the fact that I was always planning on trading him before his buy round. Now there's no way that I'm going to do it. So, yeah, these things do alter your plans, but I'm certainly not complaining. He is an animal. He's gone up over 200k. So exceeded expectations, and he'll be 500k, I reckon, by the end of next week. He's not moving from my side, an absolute star. Thank you, Kizza. You are absolutely keeping me afloat at the moment, mate. Dunkley, really, really safe VC, I thought it was this week. He delivered with a 137. Neil was a better option from that game, and obviously the Bont was the best option of the week, but I'm not complaining with that. This bloke has been so super consistent with these 135 plus scores. He is a safe lock each and every week, I think. So you'd be pretty silly, I think, not to look to have him in the loop when you can. So hats off to you, Josh Dunkley. I think he's going to win our BNF this year. Neil is in the conversation for All-Australian. I've seen, Brad Johnson's. I think it might be David King's. Some other pundits out there. Most of them have Lockie Neal in there. I haven't seen one with Josh Dunkley, but I reckon internally they'll rate Dunkley's season higher than Neil's. Or I do anyway. I have at the moment. So don't know if they think on the same lines as me, but for me, Josh Dunkley is leading our BNF at the moment. Zaki Butters, this is really disappointing. He's a pod for me. I reckon at half-time he was on 65 to 70 points and just really slowed up in the second half. But positives, really exciting watch. He's got a really decent ceiling. I haven't really seen it in my side yet. I thought this could be the game against Geelong. Wasn't to be, but it wasn't a disaster score. He is losing cash though. So for other people, you can jump on after the bye or even maybe the week after that and get him for a pretty good deal, I think. So I'm already wrapped to have him in my side, and most likely he'll end up being one of my midfielders till the end of the season. Again, go through my plans soon. Rosie with him 111, fantastic. Say it each and every week, safe as houses. At the start of the game, it looked like Butters was going to be the dominant performer here in regards to scoring, but Rosie came back with 111, and I think Ollie Wines almost got a 130 or around the mark anyway. So for those that jumped on Ollie Wines maybe a month ago, you've been rewarded, and he's definitely made some decent coin in the process as well. Errol 111, exactly the same as Rosie. So we've seen some really low scores, some huge ceiling scores. This is your better than average type score. We don't see a heap of 111 types from Goulden. So again, really, really happy with that. Popular player and will be available this week, which is best of all. Cogs, great to see him for the second week in a row in the 100 plus club. He got a fair bit of the ball contested as well, so had a pretty solid game. Josh Kelly was the massive scorer here, along with Tom Green, but again, even to be third in line for those midfielders with this type score, 112, fantastic from the Cogs. And Humphrey, well, kicked his customary goal, but the difference this week was that it wasn't a real clutch goal in a tight situation during the game. The only tight situation was pretty much in the first quarter. After that, it was all one-way traffic, so congratulations to Carlton and Carlton supporters. Janeth, you'd be absolutely wrapped, mate. Back on the winners list as well. It's been painful. It's been painful. So congratulations, genuinely wrapped for the Carlton fans, because it's been a tough season for them to date. But Bailey, yeah, pretty solid game. Nothing like we've seen probably over the last month, but 74 as his low score over the last 5 weeks. That's still really decent, isn't it? So if you could keep him as cover, I think that would be really nice. One of the options I've got, I think, has my cover for the year. And Ford, super disappointing after, what's it been, 4 out of 5 good scores? 3 out of 4. Yeah, worst score of the year by far with a 30. So super disappointing from him. We had high hopes at least get to a 60 and make us get to 260 plus, but he still made some decent coin. What is it? Not quite 150, but it's been good enough. We've had some rookies that are absolutely dead at the moment that have made us nothing, so I'm not going to complain with 130, 140 odd K. We always want more though, don't we? A little bit unfortunate. And Roberts is dead for a while, I think. I have to check the injury updates. Wouldn't it be nice just to get him for even last month of the season? Not too sure if he'll be able to get his way back in the side anyway. So that is the team. Now let's talk about, well, firstly I'll show you what I'm looking like for the buy. So we will optimize this. Thank you very much. So off the field we go. Yep. All right, so at this stage, I've got a full defence. So I've got 6 there, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, no Constable, 14, 15, 16. So I'm not in a good situation at the moment. As I mentioned before, I will need to trade to get out of this predicament. So before I actually do that, I'll show you what my best side actually looks like on paper. So without taking the buys into account, alright, I think that's right there. Everything's right there. So at this stage, I've got Stewart, Dacos, Dawson, Lloyd, Sheasel and Day. In my defence, I've got Dunkley, Bont, Laird, Zerrett, Neal, Green, Steele and Ashcroft as well in my midfield. So one spot there that I need to fill. Gawn and Briggs, I'm just going to keep those 2 for the remainder of the season, hopefully. And then Taranto, Butters, Rosie, Goulden, Cogs, and Humphrey. So I really need to upgrade these 2 spots here. Now I've got other options. I can even upgrade the defence here through some DPP. I could get a couple of midfielders if I really wanted to. But I think at this stage, what I'm looking to do is to upgrade this midfield spot and my forward spot as well. So I'll take you through scenario 1 where I can actually complete my side. So it involves saying see you later to Josh Weddle, goodbye to Will Ashcroft. We've got to say goodbye to Bailey Humphrey and also Eddie Ford. So I am using my second last boost, and my other boost I most likely won't use for the year, which is a little bit frustrating, but it is what it is. So who are we looking to bring in? So as I said, I want to go with one of the big boys in Clayton Oliver. When you look at some of the other blokes I've got, your Days, even your Gawns and your Ruck compared to English types, Jack Steele, other people may have Brayshaw there. I really am losing points. So I think that I just need to try to get the best of the best in the midfield here, and that is Clary. He's more pottish in what he was before his injury. I know lots of people did keep on to him, but lots of people did trade him out. So I'm super keen to get back Clary, and I could do it this week in this scenario. The other bloke that I really want to bring in, whoa, can't spell there, is Darcy Cameron. Now the reason for that is because I really want some ruck cover. With Gawn and Briggs here and Madden, for me it just makes sense to bring someone into my forward line that can cover just in case of some sort of emergency. So I think at his price, 464k, it's really friendly for potential output. I think he could finish in the top 8 forwards from here until the end of the season. So pretty keen to get Darcy coming off his bye into my side. So they are the 2 blokes that I would get in premium wise. Then the other bloke here in the forward line would be Marriage. And then I've got 218k to play with. if I could, so we're looking the back line here. What is the Pelican? Not that I would. 221. So he's out of it. I could go someone like a Harry Arnold. Now we know that he's not playing, or at this stage, fingers crossed that he may, but that there will give me 116k in the bank. So I could do that, and my side then would be Stewart, Dacos, Dawson, Lloyd, Sheasel, Day, Dunkley, Bont, Laird, Zerrett, Neal, Green, Steele, Oliver, Gawn, Briggs, Taranto, Butters, Rosie, Goulden, Cogs, and Cameron. So that would be the final side there. The only issue is the fact that my cover is Marriage. Roberts isn't playing. No Madden, no Ralston, no Constable. Johnson, really not sure about his job security moving forward after this week's performance. Chincotta, dicey job security as well. Harry Arnold, well, he's not even playing at this stage anyway. Has not even played a game. So that's the thing that's worrying me. At the same time, though, I do have 116k in the bank and 6 trades. So I could even make another move next week and, say, upgrade a Steel type or even a Shees or a Day if I really, really wanted to. Possibly a Gawn if that floated my boat. But I'm not in love with this because if you look at who I'm trading out here, it's 1 buy player, 1, 2, 3 players that are playing, 1, 2, 3 as well. Not even sure about Arnold. So, yeah, the issue here is the fact that I'm not really winning out for the buys and I'm still not able to field 18. So, yeah, I'm going to cancel that. Let's get these blokes here. Another option that I've got as well is I could even keep, say, a Weddle. I'll keep an Ashcroft, depending on what I do there. Ford's definitely gone. So Ford's definitely gone. There's a couple of other moves that I could make. So this is the other possibility. Trade Chincotta out. So Ford and Chincotta. And I could even trade Johnson out. So I'm making 3 trades here and only getting in 1 premium this week. So the plan here would be to go Marriage. Then my premium is going to be Darcy Cameron. Now, have I done this with DPP? No, I haven't, sorry. So I'll just get Roberts into midfield there, and I'll get Darcy Cameron in. And then I've got 250k to actually play with. Now, if I go 100k type player, I'll have 150 left over, but that won't get me either Ashcroft or Humphrey to Clayton Oliver. So I'll probably need to make another couple of trades next week. The sort of blokes that I could look at, I'll just go by price here. The 3 blokes that you could have actually gone this week. So it is a little bit frustrating, but I think they are some safer options that I may have, I think, compared to just taking a hope and a prayer on one of these 102k blokes. So down, we should start seeing him soon. So Pelican there, as I mentioned, but he's a defender. Where are we? Must be coming to them soon. Must have skipped him. Oh, sorry, the defenders. Sorry, I apologise. Sorry. So, they'll definitely come up now. Here we are. So, the first bloke is Dev Robertson. So, 218,000. I talked a lot about him last week. Now, the time to get him was certainly last week, but he's got a really low break even, and he could easily come into the side. That will give me another buy player. So 1, 2, 3 playing. That will actually get me 18, because remember, I've got 16 at the moment. These rookies aren't anything fantastic. And this way, I also keep, just say, your Weddle, your Humphrey, and your Ashcroft as well. Another bloke that you could look at is Windhager, so mid forward, so got some DPP status. He scored the 95, so not quite as much as Robertson, but 202k there. And the other bloke you've got as well, didn't he have a magnificent game, is Angus Sheldrick, so 190,400 again with DPP status. Now, it's not ideal, is it? Now, someone like a Sheldrick, Windhager, Robertson, we're not even really sure about the job security here, but I know that they're playing this week, and this option is going to allow me to actually get 18 playing, which I think is a real bonus. Now, Sheldrick got a 90 odd this week. If he repeats his performance, that's 90 extra points that I've got going towards my overall score. I'm not saying he's going to get 90. I'm not saying that whatsoever, but let's just say if it's a 60, again, that's 60 points onto my overall score. And I think at the moment, that's about 1,000 spots difference in the overall rankings as well. So 60 points can be pretty crucial. He's got some pretty good term job security. You'd think someone like a Sheldrick after his performance, but with Mills coming back, obviously Heaney coming back, does that change up some things? I'm really not too sure, because it is tight for spots in there at the Sydney midfield at the moment. So look, let's just say that I do go Sheldrick. Let's see what the team's looking like now. So I'll complete those trades, confirm that. I've got another option as well on my phone. I'll just have to check that. There's been so many options that have been going through my head. I've written half them down. Where are we? What's this one? So, yeah, that's the 3-1. I'll tell you what, it's bloody tough at this stage. Another situation I've got is that I can actually keep Weddle as well, because it worries me getting a defensive downgrade. Is it easier maybe to get a Weddle and hold on to him rather than Ashcroft? But in this situation here, we've got Weddle as cover for the moment. We'll have Sheldrick as cover there, and we've got Humphrey here. So the next move I make is a really easy one. It's either Humphrey and Ashcroft, and what between them, that's 800k, and I need to get Oliver 650. So certainly an option I've got, but I would actually like to hold on to Ashcroft. So for me, my avenue to get Clayton Oliver is most likely going to be Josh Weddle traded down and Humphrey traded up. So what will happen there is that Ashcroft will be my cover. I'll have a midfielder in here as well. I'm not sure what's going on with my... Oh, there we go. So let's just say I get a Butters. So Butters will go there. What's going on there? Yep, that's right. So Butters, Dunkley. Yep, so Dunkley will come back up here. Sorry. This is dragging on now. Alright, so that'll be like that. And so Humphrey is going to turn into Oliver. Weddle will turn into, well, some sort of other defensive rookie. And then Ashcroft will be my cover. So Ashcroft can cover in the midfield here, which is always really handy. If I have a forward out, then Ashcroft comes into the midfield and Butters comes in here. I can just switch him with Roberts, which is nice and easy if I need to do that. You've also got forward. So pretty much, unless it's Darcy Cameron that's injured, I can almost do a straight swap for Butters, and then Ashcroft comes into there. If one of my rucks go down, then Darcy Cameron simply comes in. That's nice and easy. The main issue I'll have here is the fact that, yeah, I'm not really sure who I can get Weddle down to that will actually be some sort of decent cover. I don't think there's going to be anybody, but I suppose the good thing is that I've got 6 trades left in the bank with a completed side, couple of fake premiums with your steals, maybe your Will Days, but with 6 trades and no defensive cover, the plan probably is, if it's a couple of weeks injury, I'll just use one of my trades, because I know that there's some other teams that are on 2, 3, and in a pretty similar situation to me at the moment. So 7 currently. After next week, I'll get in Oliver and some sort of rookie for Weddle and Bailey Humphrey. And then teams completed. So 5 in the bank after that, and few options. Whether or not I even choose at some stage to downgrade an Ashcroft and then go bang bang with that money and turn a Day into maybe a Sisley if I could get there, or a Steele into maybe a Petrarca or something like that. At least I'll have a few options anyway. So what I'm really keen on having is at least some decent cover. So although Weddle will be gone, I've got Ashcroft there. Sheldrick, it may not be Sheldrick as well. If someone else pops up during the week, or if I change my mind and go like a Winhager or a Dev Rob, I'd love to get Dev Rob as a Lions man, but he doesn't offer DPP, which, or does he? Don't think he does from memory, which probably puts Sheldrick a little bit ahead for me, even possibly Winhager. So a lot of thinking to do this week as to who I'm actually going to get there, or do I just go all the way down to 102k? I could even look to get a Himmelberg as that extra cover and just get a non-playing defensive forward rookie on the opposite line. There's many things that I can do, but the plan at this stage is, as I said, to get Weddle and Humphrey out, rookie and Oliver in, get Clary back in, get the big boy in, and hopefully that will paper over some of the other cracks in my side, aka a couple of the fake premiums. So look, I think that's it for now, guys. Hope that you're all well. Stay tuned this week for a big stock market video. This is going to be a huge one because lots of teams are looking to finalize their sides for 2023. So hopefully I can give you some solid advice there. And obviously tomorrow night we're going to get together for the SuperCoach Swordplay podcast. So I will put a tweet out for our mailbag section. And again, if we don't get to that in the potty itself, I'll put out a separate video. And one more thing before I go, I need to remember this. It's been really tough to actually get to lots of these comments. And what I've found is that I've go back to a video and there's like 10 or more comments that I haven't got to. What must be happening in my YouTube studio is that the most recent 3 come up, and that's all that I see until it refreshes, etc. So if the messages get pumped out on one of my review videos, I just seem to miss a lot of them. So what I promise to do from now on is do a separate video rather than replying to each one down the bottom in comments. I'll actually record a video and do it that way. So I promise I'll get to each and every one of the comments for my round review. So if you've got a question for the Q&A this week, leave it down the bottom here and I'll make a separate video just to answer your question. And for the SuperCoach Swordplay potty, we'll leave those questions separate. They'll be on Twitter. And as I said, I'll put a post up some stage tomorrow or the next day as well. So that's it for now, guys. Take care. All the best. Good luck for the upcoming bye. And I'll see you soon in the next one. Cheers, bye.